Guys, what's up, man? So check it out. Madden 24, right? The beta. That's what we're going to be talking about. I think I have kind of somewhat of a unique perspective on the game. It's going to be very different, man. It's going to be very different. I think it's going to be a lot. It's going to be very difficult for defense. I think. This is my personal opinion. But if you want to listen to this, while you're on the way to work, or if you're watching the video format, then that's why I have the gameplay in the background. So you're not just staring at me the whole time, right? So you have something to watch while you're listening. But let's just go ahead and hop into it and just talk about some of the things that I've seen. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is press coverage. Okay. I think if you're going to press coverage, I think you need to be in man. Okay. I think if you're going to press, only be in man coverage when you're going to press. That's what I've seen. The zones they're not as terrible as Madden 22, but zones are never really good. I mean, I think maybe 1 year the zones were really good. Zones were okay this year, but also I was playing MUT. When I played regs, the zones were actually really, really bad. So let me kind of step back a little bit. But yeah, press coverage might be a no-no in zone. Okay, so that's something that you're going to want to keep an eye out for, is if you're going to press, I'm thinking man coverage, okay? If you are going to be running zone, right, just understand that pressing zone is just going to be a really bad idea. And if you are going to run zone, I'm thinking a shade down, shade up, and then probably that's about it. Okay, so very, very brain dead zone defense this year is what I'm thinking is going to happen. Let's see. Okay, so I put man coverage will most likely be above average, right, as we talked about. Now, dollar. Okay, dollar is most likely going to be the meta. I've seen lots of dollar when I was playing, as well as I was using dollar, and it seems to, yeah, it's definitely going to be the meta. The three-man rush is still, okay, the three-man rush is not OP like it was this year, but it's still really good. So I guess what I would have to say is, just on the offensive side, just make sure you have a receiver with an ability, because there's going to be lots of man coverage, I think, especially in regs. If you're going to be playing regs, you're going to need a receiver with an ability, and not just any ability like route tech or deep out or something like that, okay? Let's see. Overall, pretty good defense. I haven't seen much weak box. That's what I put. So yeah. So it's not like if you rush 3, you're just gonna break something, right? So you don't have to rush 4. But even if you rush 4, the defensive linemen are not on steroids this year. Okay, so remember Madden 23, right? Especially in MUT, dude. Especially in MUT. As soon as you scramble out, you're going to get sacked. It is not like that. The QB, the reason they did that was because of escape artists, obviously, right? Remember fucking Derrick Henry at fucking QB, right? Derrick Henry at QB and just running around just left and right. I mean, it's just, who wants to play that? So it's not going to be like that, but there will be QB scrambling this year, okay? So on regs, I will have to come up with a defense for that. Okay, so give me time when the game comes out. Give me some time, and then I will try to. If there's a lot of QB scrambling, then I'll check it, and I'll try to come up with a defense for it to stop that, because we're gonna have to, right? But yeah, the defensive linemen are not really on steroids. Like, as soon as you sprint out the pocket, they're not just gonna disengage and then you get tackled. They're still pretty good. Okay. So that's what they did, which was Madden 23, is they put the defensive linemen on steroids. This year, I don't see a lot of insta-sheds, which is kind of nice. At the same time, that gives people a lot more time in the pocket. So, I don't know. I guess I'm okay with that, because there'll be less cheese blitzes, right? I'm thinking there's going to be a lot less cheese on defense. I think that's what they're trying to prevent. Is that they want people to kind of be more creative instead of just running spinner every fucking play. Let's see. I put hopefully if the QB gets hit, they'll turn red faster because I didn't notice that. Yeah, so whenever I ran with the QB and I got tackled, I didn't really notice that his fatigue, that he didn't really fatigue that much. That's a bad thing, because if Lamar Jackson, if they're playing on conservative and they're running Ravens on regs and Lamar Jackson, they're just gonna, since it's a scrambling year, is what I'm thinking, it's gonna be bad. So hopefully, the last thing that I need is for Lamar Jackson, someone to use the Ravens and run an RPO, or not an RPO, a read option, and then just take off with Lamar Jackson because he doesn't get tired, which is what happens in almost every Madden, right? They need to make it to where if Lamar Jackson is going to roll out, he needs to, develop some sort of fatigue. Otherwise, it's kind of cheese. Shout out Lamar Jackson, though. But let's see. So, yeah, it's going to be an offensive year. Now, that being said, no ag catches, okay? So no aggressive catches, very few, and timing is going to be important on those, and the position of those receivers are going to matter, okay? So that's good. Let's see. Hot routes, okay? Slowed hot routes on offense, okay? So they kind of buffed off. They kind of nerfed offense in Madden 23, where they made it to where you can't do so many hot routes, but they're doing it on both sides of the ball now, right? So they did on defense. So on defense, you can make maybe 2 adjustments, 2, maybe 3 adjustments, and that's what the skill gap is going to be, is those adjustments are going to need to be really precise. You're going to actually need to know how to adjust, and the same thing on offense, okay? So on offense, there's going to be maybe 2 hot routes. So you might get lucky and be able to do 2 hot routes, okay? So that's what they're doing to kind of balance the game, is taking away things from us. So that's not really cool. But for the casual player, I think it'll be just fine. So that being said, slant routes are probably going to be key, and motion slant routes. That's what I put. I put slant routes are probably going to be key this year, okay? Let's see. Yeah, you can only make 1 or 2 adjustments. New animations, obviously new animations, new tackling animations, new catching animations, new defensive back, cornerback animations whenever they pick the ball. I think besides the tackling, because tackling animations are just tackling animations, right? But I think the cornerbacks are going to be a little bit more overpowered than they were this year. So that could possibly be damaging to the game. So if you're on MUT, they're going to, if you thought that the cornerbacks played good this year, they're definitely going to be playing good next year. Okay. Well, it's not that they're going to be playing good. It's that man coverage is going to be good, but also the animations. The cornerbacks have more animations now, which is kind of a bad thing, but also the receivers have animations, but just not as much. So to explain that, cornerbacks are probably going to be good. Okay, so that's something to keep an eye out for. Let's see. Stick work. Okay, so let's talk stick work. I put better stick work, possible skill gap. Okay, so it is the beta, right? But it all depends on the release date. So on the release date, we'll get the final say. So I'll be able to really test it out. I'll be playing. I'll be making ebooks, free ebooks, and stuff like that. I'll be making offensive schemes and all types of stuff like that. But there's a chance for a skill gap on offense using stick work. Okay, so stick work, you might be able to get sticky. It depends on the release date. So it depends on when the game comes out, what they fixed, and if they nerfed it. Hopefully they don't, because I like a little bit more stick work, right? This year, there was no stick. There's no stop and go, which is, it's more realistic, right? But the user was so freaking slow this year, and Madden 22. It was a little bit better this year. But the user's okay. The user's kind of the same for right now. Let's see. What else did I miss? Okay, man coverage, zone coverage. New formations. Okay, so new formations, and new formations and playbooks. There are tons of new formations. I don't know what will be the meta on offense, but I'm guessing it's going to be trips. Whenever it's an offensive year, trips is going to be really good, man. The reason why trips is good is because everything is spaced out. And so if the O line is going to be a little bit better, if the D line is going to be worse, right? Then you're going to want to do trips. You're going to want to run trips, right? That way you can really pick apart that defense. Bunch might be okay, but the thing about bunch is because the hot routes are so slow, there's really not much on bunch you can do. Tight may be good, but I'm thinking trips. I think it's going to be a trips year, man. I think trips tight end. You know, don't mark my words on that, but I'm thinking trips. I'm thinking trips is going to be the move. So it's going to be kind of like Madden 22 or Madden 21, where trips was really, really good, man. I think it's going to be like that. And that's about it, man. But I just wanted to, you know, kind of just tell you guys what's going on. But yeah, there's possible skill gap. It's going to be a QB scrambling. It's going to be most likely a trips tight end game. Lots of man coverage on zones. Forget about it. Zones are probably going to be a clown show. If you're going to run zone, don't press. Okay. Or if you're going to run zone, you can pick and choose when to press. So if you're in the red zone, you can press. I mean, yeah. If you're in the red zone, you can press zone. If you're kind of, you know, midfield or something like that, I would not press zone if I were you. I'd rather you just run man and run like a hybrid and have zones out there. So press coverage, probably a no-no. Let's see, weak box. Yeah, so I would probably rush 3 to start the year. I would rush 3, and then, you know, we'll go from there. But that's everything right now. I will be going over playbooks and stuff like that, so make sure you stay tuned. So I'm going to be going through and doing a deep dive on what plays I think are going to be good whenever. Hopefully they give us the release of the playbooks. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping I can go to the website, and then that way we can kind of break it down. So I'm going to be looking at some of the plays and stuff like that, and you know, showing you guys kind of where you should be looking. And hopefully they have new defensive formations. I didn't really see much on. It was mostly offense. Like I said, if it's a defensive year, then the next year, the following year will be an offensive year. And then it's going to switch. It's going to go back to defensive and then offensive, depending on what's the meta, right? So they do it depending on, you know, if the RPOs are OP or if the run is OP. You know, they completely nerfed the QB. Excuse me. They completely nerfed the QB's ability to run out the pocket this year. So what are they going to do this year? They're going to make it to where you can run out the pocket. Excuse me, right? So that's just some of the things. But like I said, I will be getting back to you guys with an update. So make sure you stay tuned. But that's it for now, man. But yeah, so just keep that in mind, and then you can lab accordingly right now in Madden 23. So yeah, love you guys. Peace out.